Man, she is the moment and the moment is her. She's not just the mom, she's the cool mom. The fun one, the kind who brings color into gray spaces, literally. It's magnetic and infectious and powerful, but also, you guessed it, it's a mask. A mask made of glitter, playlists, and unprocessed grief. While her daughter's mask is made to hold things together, Vanessa's mask is made to pretend nothing's wrong, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Her positivity is a shield, not just from the world's judgment, but from her own internal collapse. This is textbook toxic positivity, but with a little bit of a twist. It's not just good vibes only, it's if I stop being fun, who am I? And even deeper than that, if I stop being fun, will anyone still love me? Dun dun dun. Listen, we all carry some version of this question inside of us, but for Vanessa, motherhood became her entire self-concept. Not a role she plays, but the only version of herself she believes has value. That's why any conflict between her job and her mom role doesn't just create stress, it creates identity whiplash. And because her identity is built on being the fun, light, unbothered mom, as a consequence, that makes no room for things like, exhaustion, resentment, overwhelm, rage, grief. Much like in all other cases, the danger of the mask is that it does work. People like being around her. She gets praise for her energy. She even manages to convince herself that things are fine. But here's the cost of that. She misses things. And it's not because she's a bad mom, but because she's trying so hard to feel like a good one. And on Rochelle's shoulders at that. When you're performing joy, you don't notice your child's loneliness, you see. When you're radiating confidence, you can't admit you're drowning. And when your whole self-worth depends on being the fun one, you don't leave space for your kid to be anything else either. So Vanessa, in a way, isn't just masking her own feeling, she's accidentally asking Rochelle to mask hers too. Now, Vanessa's mask doesn't need to be destroyed. It needs to be...
My kid? Really? Zane is full of life. Ow! He has a wonderful spirit. Ow!
He's
And
biting.
He did pick up any bad habits. What about second chances?
And this is where her behavior doesn't fall under the protectiveness category. She shifts into defensive overidentification, which means her child's behavior equals her performance as a mother. So if he's bad, that must mean she's failing. And she cannot afford to believe that, okay? Because her entire self-concept is riding on being the good mom that is somehow still cool. What we're seeing here is enmeshment, where a parent's identity becomes so tangled with their child's that they can't separate themselves from their role. And if she's doing this with her youngest, well, let's go ahead and assume that's exactly what she did with Rochelle. And that's why her daughter needs to have it all together, because she senses this unspoken rule, even if she can't name it. But anyway, add to that a dash of toxic empathy, which in this case means overfeeling for your child to the point that you dismiss or invalidate others, and boom, you've got a recipe for denying reality in the name of love. She's not doing this because she's delusional, all right? She's doing it because she's scared. Follow the spiral with me. If her kid is biting,
Hey friends, it's one of those lovely days where everything goes absolutely wrong.
We understand,
No.
Vanessa.
One step at a time.
Hey,
it seems like she's very truthful with her community and they're there to support her. So, her relationship with online doesn't seem that bad right now. Here's the twist. In this scene, the mask comes off, but only in front of a screen, which is interesting because usually it's the other way around. She doesn't perform with her audience. She doesn't filter. She just reaches out genuinely. And what does she get back? Actual support, actual encouragement, like the thing she's been quietly starving for. And if no one in her real life can give it to her, well, the live stream will do. What we're seeing here is the hidden grief of invisible motherhood, especially single motherhood. There's no village, there's no backup. There's no one to say, you're doing enough or great job. So of course she turns to the only place that does that, her online community. This is proxy regulation. When we can't get emotional regulation from the people in our lives, we try to get it digitally. And it's not like she's being fake. She's trying to co-regulate. And that's pretty human, guys. Vanessa's real tragedy isn't that she's masking. To be fair, the problem is that she has no one to take the mask off with. The only place she's allowed to say, I'm struggling, is to strangers on live. But let's be real. You can't cry into it. You can't hug into it. And you can't ask it to pick up your kid from school when you're running late. You know what I mean? The internet sees her, sure, but it can't show up for her. And that's why Vanessa's mask is so stubborn, because in her reality, it kind of has to be. Meanwhile, the youngest is biting, okay? Like a lot. So I cannot simply ignore the behavior anymore. We need to talk about it. The biting is...
please, déjate.
Déjate.
I don't know who this is. Somebody need to come get this.
She's funny.
I love him. He's my kid. I love him. I do.
Okay, it's alright if sometimes you love him, but you don't like him, okay? That's fine. She means it when she says she's proud of Rochelle, but it's complicated. When she says Rochelle is on the right track, she doesn't mean emotionally secure, well-supported, or thriving. She means obedient, low maintenance, quiet. And in her world, that's the dream. And not because she doesn't care, okay, but simply because she's running on fumes. I mean, the woman is exhausted, for God's sakes. I think that Vanessa is in full parental burnout because she lacks support. Her audience is the only place she's allowed to be real. So of course she leans into it. Of course she performs motherhood for them. They see her, they praise her, they validate her worth. But that's also the problem. While her kids need her present, she cannot allow that vulnerability with them, and therefore she allows that only with her audience. It's like she cannot do both at the same time. And the more she invests in being seen by the audience, the less she can afford to just be there. Her audience protects her from haters and give her the energy to fuel her mask for Rochelle. But as you see, this creates a split reality where Vanessa needs to detach from herself and create these two different realities. 1 minute she's glowing in hearts and praise, the next she's literally begging her boss for her job back. That whiplash is her reality. It's not like she chose to leave work and prioritize her kids because she wanted to. It's because she's forced to choose. She lives in a society that treats caregiving like an inconvenience, not a responsibility, or even a favor. At the end of the day, we're keeping the human race alive, okay? I mean, not we, I don't have children, but you know what I mean. And here's the part no one likes to admit. And mask on, great.
Congrats on the championship, baby.
Thanks, Mom. Here's the game ball.
They both have their mask on. It's interesting to see that the mask of Rochelle looks very much like a kid in Vanessa's reality. Look at that.
Say winners!
Winners! Rochelle's mask in this moment is childlike, eager, almost bashful. She beams for the picture. She laughs at her mom's jokes. She performs joy. And of course, Vanessa misses it completely because she's also wearing a mask. And just like that, we have two performers on a stage spitting lines but never connecting. Here's the deal. Masking isn't always about hiding vulnerabilities or pain. Sometimes it's about protecting others from it. Rochelle is being what her mom wants her to be. Low maintenance, cute, agreeable. And Vanessa is being what she thinks Rochelle needs her to be. Positive, overly sunny, and carefree. Both are using their masks to keep the peace. But peace without truth is just performance. It's fake. Psychologically, this is a textbook example of emotional modeling. Children don't learn how to process emotions by what you tell them. Surprise. They learn by watching how you process yours. So if you pretend everything is fine when you've been just fired, let's say, they learn to pretend to. If you never admit you're sad, they'll start thinking sadness is shameful. And Rochelle's joy here is echoed joy, not the real kind. In my humble professional opinion, this is a masterclass in misattunement. Vanessa can't see her daughter's subtle signals because seeing requires softness. Softness requires presence, and presence requires vulnerability. But Vanessa is too busy chasing positivity like it's the cure for poverty, so Rochelle gives her what she wants. And in return, she never gets what she needs. And I guess this is the lesson here.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bacon.
Good morning, friend.
Wow, the community literally picks her up.
And let me tell you, it's going to be a day.
She's using her online community to motivate herself because, you know, it seems like she doesn't have a lot of help. I don't see friends. I don't see
our hours
a mom or a dad.
Be kind to Bear. Bear has feelings. Just like mama fingers. I'm going out.
What's up with your kid, man? What we're watching here is emotional overcompensation. Vanessa's masking because her reality is actually quite terrifying. She has no stable job, no co-parent or at least a reliable third person to help, a biting toddler, and a daughter whose needs are way bigger than she lets on. But instead of crumbling, she powers up, she overfunctions, overpositivizes, and projects control. She grinds it out much like her daughter, remember? Gee, I wonder where Rochelle learned that from. Now, the scene with her toddler is key because we see her gently teach him, "You don't want to hurt mama." A beautiful attempt at modeling empathy development, but here's the kicker. Vanessa can teach empathy, but she's not receiving it. There's no one in her corner saying you don't want to hurt yourself either. And this mask looks as if it's keeping her strong, but underneath it all, this is why she's isolated. And even though she loves her kids deeply, her lack of vulnerability becomes a wall. Rochelle doesn't hear the te quiero because she is invulnerable with her mom. Soft words can get through hard armor. And if love isn't received, it doesn't matter that it was said. The "I'm just going out" line, haircut. That one is so good because in Rochelle's episode, I was like, going out? What the hell do you mean? But we see in Vanessa's episode that she wasn't just going out. She was going to work, but by hiding it, she shielded Rochelle from the truth. A truth that could have helped soothe Rochelle. Instead of feeling like she's left alone, she could have feel as if her mom actually has this down and can take care of her. I mean, if Vanessa had said, hey kiddo, I'm gonna go Uber for a bit, some extra cash is always handy, I love you and take it easy, I got this, she wouldn't have burdened her daughter. She would have bonded with her, maybe even reassure her child that she's taking the role of a parent and that she has the responsibility of finances down. Or at least, if you love what I do here and you want to go deeper, or just say thank you for the content you've already binged, there's a place for that. It's my Patreon. It starts with a small donation tier for those of you who just want to support the work I do on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and everywhere else, because trust me, the algorithm doesn't pay for emotional insight. Then there are tiers for those of you who want more, full deep dives, early access, no waiting, no splitting content into parts. And if you're the kind of person who wants to not just watch but connect and build a community, there's a coffee talk tier. I offer a monthly online live group where we go deep into a theme, we share stories, and yes, we cry a little, we laugh a lot, and leave with actual tools you can use. The link is in the description with all the details for each option, and yeah, I would love to have you there.
Rochelle, Kiana, your teacher says you cheated on a test. You can tell me if you messed up. I'd rather you be honest.
I was just caught in the crossfire. There was a note being passed, and I shouldn't have, but this kid asked me to pass it.
Okay.
Okay, so as long as Rochelle didn't mess up, that means that she as a mother didn't mess up. See, saw that? Wow. This is betrayal trauma masked as disappointment. And it's not because Rochelle actually betrayed her, but because Vanessa subconsciously needs Rochelle to be good and stable, to be the proof that she's doing something right. So when that illusion slips, her whole identity shakes. This has almost nothing to do with the test. This is about Vanessa realizing, oh crap, if even Rochelle can mess up, then maybe I don't have it together at all. We also see a clue to why Vanessa clings so hard to Rochelle, but this is really a theory, to be honest. You've seen that quick cutting comment, I didn't raise a cheater, and I don't think this is really about Rochelle. What a surprise, right? That seems to be a trauma echo, likely from her past relationship. Maybe her partner cheated, maybe she was abandoned, and now anything that smells like betrayal brings all those ghosts back. She thought she was talking to her daughter, but emotionally she was still in a fight with the person who betrayed her, it seems. The mask's damage here is that it doesn't allow Vanessa to tap into her curiosity, to the point that she doesn't check in with Rochelle. She seems to seek certainty that she is right more than getting to know her daughter's reality. She wants to live in a world where any mistake from her daughter is a moral failing and not a cry for help. But the worst thing about this scene is that she finds comfort in the story she wants to believe, because even that little relief sigh is not for Rochelle, it's again for herself. That's why when she... The fuck are those? What's that haircut?
That's so sweet of you to finally show up.
Is that a Karen?
Cookie.
The PTA meeting.
Oh,
It
fuck.
must be so hard for you to get away.
I don't know how you do it. If I had to raise one of these guys alone, I would just be a wreck.
Oh my gosh.
Nah,
Are you calling her indirectly a wreck?
she's at home right now, burning the midnight oil on some homework.
Okay.
Oh, without supervision, even with your supervisor.
These teenagers lie about it.
So much judgment. She's a single mom. Please, give her a break. And her mask is not working. Vanessa armors up and she weaponizes Rochelle's competence, you see? She uses it as a literal weapon. She says she makes it easy. And listen, I get where she's coming from, but that's not a compliment to her daughter. That's a deflection at best. Vanessa needs to feel like she's doing okay, but she can't say she's doing okay, so she borrows her daughter's success to prove it. She says she trusts Rochelle, but what she really means is, I need her to be okay so I don't fall apart. And apparently these PTA moms can smell it on her. That's emotional outsourcing, everyone. It's when you rely on your child's or anyone else's stability to compensate for your own unraveling. And deep down, Vanessa knows it. That's why the cheating accusation hit her so hard after all. The real tragedy of this scene is that Vanessa doesn't know how to be cared for, so she doesn't know how to truly care for Rochelle either. She thinks she's empowering her daughter, but she's actually over-relying on her, treating her like a co-pilot, not a child. And when Rochelle stumbles, Vanessa's world dims, because her entire self-worth is built on this idea that if Rochelle's okay, then I'm okay. Then everything everything's okay. And that's way too much pressure to place on one kid. On any kid, actually. There's too much pressure for kids, generally speaking. Vanessa's healing will start with a terrifying step.
Oh, dude. Thanks for the help.
That could be anything.
Cheating. Next time, don't get caught.
Oh no.
Okay. Cheating seems to be a big thing for her.
Cheat. He's the one corrupting.
Are you joking, Vanessa? Here, she is confronted with evidence that Rochelle lied and goes through what any other parent would go through, doubt. But instead of saying, okay, my daughter is struggling and maybe I didn't notice with all these things happening, she says, someone must have corrupted her. Reminds me a bit of Ming from Turning Red. And I get it, you know, it's easier to say that than admitting she missed the signs, acknowledging that she's not as tuned in as she thought, facing the fear that she's not doing enough. So instead of dropping the mask, she tries to protect it by blaming literally anything else. Also, notice the magical thinking here. The phone just ends up in her hands by vibrating. The password just gets guessed by a toddler. She just happens to find the messages. It's very funny, right? But that's not a coincidence. That's psychological distancing. It's how she avoids owning that she's crossing a boundary. And it's almost as if she's realizing that parenting often means you can't be friends with your children, but hey, she needs more time for that thought to cement in her mind. So if until now Vanessa's mask couldn't be directly tied to Rochelle's pain, now we can see how it's actively hurting her daughter. By idealizing Rochelle as the perfect child, she made Rochelle responsible for Vanessa's identity. And now that Rochelle slipped, as all kids do eventually, Vanessa doesn't see a struggling daughter. She sees a crack in her own self-image. She really needs to stop performing and start parenting, everyone. I mean, not through control, but through curiosity and humility, and that means
That's probably like a burner account. If you hit the profile pic right
goodness.
there. Yep, this is definitely a burner.
It looks normal to me.
I love
Oh, a fake version of your daughter looks normal to you?
things I
Who speaks like that?
Work it, work it, work it.
homework, book report, cheating, ha, no problem. Money.
Money. Ooh, so many low blows and plot twists for Vanessa, but I guess the most world-shattering one is discovering she was never truly close to Rochelle. She was close to the version of Rochelle her daughter designed specifically to please her. The social media she followed of her daughter was actually a great representation of the mask, you know, a curated performance of a kid who was not, a curated performance of a kid who has not other personality traits than to make her mom feel good about herself. But if you have such a kid, please make sure to tell them that their priority in life isn't to please you. I mean, if you look at this Instagram all dedicated to how happy she is, can't you see you're connecting with your own mask? Don't you think it's too suspiciously good to be true? Don't you think your child has a personality beyond that, or struggles or worries? I mean, the fact that she says it looked normal to me is what makes us understand how unseen Rochelle truly is and how much Vanessa is relying on her for her own self-worth. Again, it's a perfect, almost textbook case of emotional enmeshment. In fact, Rochelle developed what's called a false self, a version of herself designed to preserve that attachment. And this often happens when the caregiver's needs are louder than the child's truth. So Rochelle gives her the posts, the hashtags, the best mom captions, because if she doesn't, Vanessa crumbles. And when the adult can't tolerate disappointment, the child learns to hide their pain. They learn they're responsible for it, actually. That's what makes this moment so devastating. Vanessa is losing the...
Well, I'm 30 because today is my birthday. Thank you very much.
Oh. Okay, now it's clear. Underneath Vanessa's mask of everything is fine mom, we find a kid who never really got to finish being one. Turning 30 on the same day your 13-year-old or 12-year-old daughter runs away sounds like poetic trauma or something, because it forces her to see, I gave away my youth before I knew what I was giving. So of course her mask has to say I'm fine, because she has to believe that. If she lets the truth in, if she lets it slip for 1 second, she might have to face the very harsh reality that she was a child raising a child. And that truth might just break her, you know, because come on, Vanessa became a mom at 18, a time when your brain is still in development, especially your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for long-term planning, emotional regulation, and identity formation. So psychologically, her ego structure was still forming, and when someone takes on a massive identity role, like motherhood, and when that happens too early, it freezes parts of their development. The pressure to be a good mom mom becomes the entire foundation of self-worth. So instead of discovering who she is, Vanessa built a mask of who she needs to be. I'm a good mom, I'm a fun mom, a lovable mom. But when that identity gets shaken, like today on her 30th birthday, there's nothing underneath to catch her. And listen, this is not immaturity, it's developmental interruption. She was forced to mask so young that she doesn't know who she is without it anymore. And we can see clear as day the burden of that. It's called unprocessed identity fusion, and it happens when you stop seeing your kid as their own person and start seeing them as your reflection. Vanessa's real healing will come when